It's me and Connor.
What?
Connor and me. We love talking Yankees, so grab a
Come
seat.
on.
New York at heart. We rep BX. Chat about the team with no BS. It's Captain's Convos. 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 Captain's Convos.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Captain's Corner. I am Ryan here with my co-host Connor.
And today we have our first recurring guest back on the show. I still can't believe you've even been on once. The legendary Joba Chamberlain. I got to ask, I saw you were looking at your phone, but what were your thoughts on the intro video? I mean, you still must have hated that.
You know what? I was like, I liked it. It's catchy. I liked it. Nice little beat to it. It was catchy. It was better than the other one. I'll give you that.
We appreciate that. There was just one night I had a couple brews, and I was like, you know what, we could.
Dude, sometimes that's the greatest brainstorming sessions with yourself.
Absolutely.
My dad always told me, he's always like, keep a pen and pencil next to your bed wherever you're at, because sometimes the best ideas come at like random points, and you're like, I better remember this because I think this is a great idea.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Ryan, he surprised me with the video portion. So he reached out to my wife for like photos of me when I was a kid, when we were, on the Yankees for Little League.
You're like, where the hell is this going?
The first time seeing that on the show, I could not stop laughing.
That's great. Well, yeah, thank you very much for coming back on. Pleasure to have you. And yeah, it's crazy just being a little more comfortable. I mean, you're like the first pod that we did with you was like, oh my God, we have Joba Chamberlain on. And that's still the narrative. Like, it's unbelievable, but you're just such a down to earth dude and like easy to talk to. So it's just really cool to have you back on and talk ball. And now we have some ball to talk. I think the last time you were on, it was like January. It was kind of like, we were just kind of,
Seeing what happens.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just to start it off, kind of what are your thoughts so far in terms of the season and how it's going?
I think this season we've kind of gotten a little bit of everything. I mean, not only from the Yankee side, but like just from baseball in general. And we've seen some surprises. We've seen some ones that we weren't surprised about. Obviously injuries have come. Like, it sucks to see a young kid like Cade Horton get hurt and have that. And like, so we've seen in 2 weeks, we've seen a lot in that, and that's baseball. And that's kind of what we've seen. Obviously, Connor Griffin coming in and doing what he did, gets a double on his leadoff hit and, signs the deal. And I think they're still finalizing it, is from what I read this morning.
Yeah, I think today they might have just finalized it. It was like 9 years, 140.
And so, I mean, there's just been a lot of stuff that's gone on. And I think with, the state of where we all kind of see baseball going, I think just watching this year to get off to the start that it has, I think is a good thing for all of us, knowing, kind of maybe what lies ahead of us. But it's been fun to see, guys get off to hot starts, names that we're going to see that, some superstars and some guys getting off to slow starts. But, it's a long season. But, I love when we get in these conversations with people, how like they get so bent out of shape earlier. I'm like, we've literally not even been a month into this season. Like, can we just wait and just kind of calm our horses and see what happens? But I mean, as far as the Yankees and everything that's gone on so far, you kind of see, obviously McMahon's starting at shortstop today, kind of see what happens there. You see Rosario stepping up, doing the things that he's done. Cam obviously doing what he's done, Stanton hitting the ball early. I love how people are like, oh, they're already giving him a break. Well, it was a planned break and he gets a day off. So he gets 2 days. Like, we want him at the end of the year. Like, It's nice to have the production early in the year, but it's also, we want to have him healthy at the end of the year. We know injuries are going to happen. That's just part of the game. But, it's been nice to see, you're seeing guys. And I think if, as our Yankee fans, like following Dominguez is hitting the ball well in AAA. And I think he has something to prove too, is what are they going to do with him? Does he force their hand? That'll be an interesting aspect that we'll probably touch on at some point. But it's been fun to see, just because there's a lot of moving and shaking early in the year, just because you kind of don't know. And then it's kind of like, how do we progress? Because we know we're going to get guys during the year back healthy, and what do we expect, and what can we how can we plan to make sure that they're healthy and what can we do from there? And, I remember when I think Cam's second start, everybody's like, why'd they pull him? I was like, it's his second start. Like, come on, like, let's just pump the brakes here a little bit. And everybody's like, oh, and I asked everybody like about his start. I'm from Nebraska. I know it's like pitching in the 40s. It's not fun, but he gave us a chance to win, and look what happened. And, that's all you can really ask at this point. So it's been a fun, interesting dynamic in baseball for the whole, start of the season to what it is now. We had a nice little brawl. Those are always fun.
That was crazy.
The baseball.
Using the baseball.
Ronaldo Lopez didn't leave the ball out of his hand, and I think it came down to 7 games, and Soler hit a home run today.
Wow.
And so obviously they're going to appeal and do whatever, but not to say that there's a time and a place for all of it, but it still is like, you see these things, and you got 63-year-old Walt Weiss just going full form tackle to Soler, and it's like, that's a gamer. Walt Weiss was a gamer. That's what he was as a player. That's what he is as a manager. That's why you want guys like that. So I love it. Obviously, it's a different game than it was back in the days when you could just fight. Everybody go to their dugouts. Everybody go back to their spot, and you play it off. So, but no, there's been a lot of cool stuff, and it's just an exciting time. I love being able to, sit at lunch, get some stuff done in my office, and be able to watch some ball games.
Absolutely. Yeah, just to touch on that fight. Oh, you can go, Connor.
You go.
I was going to say, to touch on that fight again, that was an interesting one because usually, at least from my perspective, it's pretty like immediate when a guy charges or kind of the pitcher wants him to charge. That it felt like there was just a lot of dragging beforehand. I guess there was maybe some words exchanged. And then, to not drop the baseball, I don't think that's something we've seen. Usually you throw the bat, you throw everything. That was kind of crazy.
Yeah, he kept the ball in the glove. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Defense offense.
Yeah, and how he kept the ball in his hand when he swung, that's impressive. And it's just, I mean, it is what it is. Is it exciting for fans and whatever? Is it dangerous for players? Yes, I understand that, but it's also part of the game. It's been a part of the game for a long time. I get pitching in, understand all that. And it was weird because it was like they kind of just looked at each other. If you look at it, they kind of just like were back and forth. And then I don't know who said something first or what happened. And then all of a sudden it was like he went like this, and it's like, well, all right, come get me, I guess.
Here we go.
Soler's not a small human being by any means.
No.
So, I mean, I guess you do what you got to do at that point. What I want to know, too, is what the hell was Jonah Heim doing? Your job as a catcher is to make sure that your guy doesn't get to that point. He just stood there and was like,
He was hanging around, and then even when he gets to them, it looked like he caressed the shoulders lightly.
Yeah, he tried to like get in there and be like, "Hey, I'm here. Don't worry."
Yeah.
He wanted no part of that, and
he wanted no smoke. He wanted none of that.
You got to be ready to protect your guy, and I saw a couple tweets about that today coming after him, and rightfully so. You got to protect your guy, and he did not do that. But it's funny.
Mm-hmm. Kind of remind me of I forget what year it was, but when Bryce Harper charged the mound with his helmet
against Hunter Strickland.
Yes.
But if you look at that, did you see when Bryce threw his helmet? He threw it the opposite way. He was trying to throw it this way. It went that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ever was there.
That was good.
Yeah. Before we dive into the Yankees more, I also wanted to ask, did you see Joe Adell, the 3 home run robberies? Especially that last one. I mean, disgusting.
The catch is one thing, but the amount of ground he covered to get to it, because it is a short porch over there, and playing there, and I always played right field during BP, so I know that area, and it cuts off real quick. And just to have the awareness, because if you see as he's running towards, he checks where he's at, and the self-awareness to know where you're at on the field. First of all, the 2 catches before were tremendous. That one was by far the most impressive, just because the ground he covered and the awareness of to know where it was, when to jump, to not get hurt. He knew he was probably going to go over the wall, but the awareness of where he could jump to make sure that he didn't get absolutely crushed. And then the catch, it's cool. And then the funny part is the photo went viral of him holding his glove up, It was a mom just taking a random picture. She just happened to take that picture, and like next thing you know, she's like, "Oh my gosh!" She wakes up the next morning, she went viral on a picture, and she was there with her kids and just hanging out. So that's the cool stuff about sports that people don't really understand, and how just being in the right place at the right time with a great play. Like what Tatis was leading with 4 robbed home runs, and he did 3 in one game.
3 in one game, yeah.
And he donated the glove to the Hall of Fame, I believe.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That was cool. It's one thing to even get 3 opportunities to rob a home run in a game, and then to capitalize on each one. And like you said, that third one, like, unbelievable, and like outstretched arm at the end of it, just like. And me and Connor talked about this a little recently. We're not sold on like those short walls. There was a lot of discourse, I feel like, after that game where people were like, "Oh, if you go over the fence catching it, it should be a home run." We don't necessarily agree with that. Obviously, the rule's been around forever. But it is just interesting having that short of a wall where, like, I don't know, it kind of lends itself to the guys are going to fall over. Like the one in Fenway wall is really small. Obviously, you don't want to touch and mess with such a historic ballpark. But it is just an interesting thing to think about, like those really small walls where if you're running, you're going to, you know what I mean? It's just kind of, I don't know.
Well, they can't touch Fenway.
What'd you say?
Because they can't touch Fenway because it's over 100 years, so it's a historical monument. So you can't touch it anymore.
Exactly. So I guess we're always going to have those walls. But
speaking of home runs, I don't know if you guys saw this, but it was in a junior college game. It just happened to be in my son's baseball conference. It was Highlands Community College versus Butler Community College. Look it up. Center fielder's going to catch a fly ball, misses it, gets lost in the sun, hits him in the forehead.
I saw
and
this.
Bounces 40 feet over for a home run.
I did not see that one.
I've never seen a ball bounce that far off someone's head.
That's literally my son's baseball conference. We had just played Butler 2 weeks before that happened.
I saw that clip. It was like a couple days ago, right?
It was like last week, yeah.
Last week, okay, yeah. So I saw the clip a couple days ago. Bounced so far. Like we've seen it happen before. Not necessarily always the head, but like hits off a player, bounces over out of the glove. But that
not
one was
that far though.
It wasn't close to being a home run. That was funny. Yeah. Oh man.
So I think we want to dive a little more into the Yankees, and we kind of wanted to do it in a game format. So we were thinking about doing a player draft. So 3 rounds of a player draft. The first 2 picking players that we're excited about this year that have performed well so far. And then the third round, each choosing a player that we want to see a little more from.
Sounds
if
good.
that makes sense, you can go first. Pick a player, talk as much as you want about them.
So we're going 1 each, or are we going to go 2 and then 2, then 2?
I think 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Go around.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with the obvious. I'm going to go with Cam. Building off last year and the confidence that he exuded, and I think rolling into this year, and I think what plays a huge part of this, and I kind of mentioned this today on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, of how big of a part that Garrett plays in what he does when he's not on the mound and teaching these kids and, you know, the mentality aspect of it. And you don't see Cam get fired up very much, and Garrett's not a huge fired up guy. I mean, everybody plays their personality, right? But I think seeing what the growth of what Cam can be, and we saw obviously the start of this year, you know, everybody was like, oh, he gave up 3, but he gave us a chance to win. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the biggest thing. And obviously weather wasn't the greatest, but I mean, that's April baseball. You never know what you're going to get. So I think for me, Cam going as my number 1 is just him progressing and getting confidence building into what he had last year to be even better than he was is something that I'm really, really looking forward to seeing. I think he's figuring out his delivery and how to get guys out in the big leagues even more so on a deeper level as far as understanding sequences, understanding batter position. Oh, Booney just got thrown out, by the way. And so I think it's just, or somebody got thrown out. I don't know who it was. Oh, I think it was.
I love when Boone gets thrown out.
No, I think it was Blake.
Wow, that's something you don't see get thrown out too often.
Yeah, I think it was him. So,
Dang.
so that for me is the one, just to seeing him grow and get better. What that ceiling is, I don't know. I think it's sky's the limit, honestly. And he's got great guys around him to be able to lean on them and ask questions, and not only from the pitching side, but from the hitting side too, because those are guys we're trying to get out.
Mhm.
So for me, it's just seeing his growth and not get complacent and just try to continue to get better. And I think as the start of the year and only 3 starts in, I think we've kind of seen him grow and make adjustments throughout the game that necessarily he didn't do before. He was relying just on power and his stuff. And I think now he's thinking more throughout the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and just he's 2-0 with a 1.62 ERA. And it's only 3 games, but 22 strikeouts already through 16 innings.
Incredible.
Pretty good.
It's funny, that third game he lets up a couple runs, and like it's just funny. I felt like the sky was falling. It's like, oh, he's not perfect. He's actually but he's still a great start. It's just like we're amazing. So absolutely great first pick. Connor, did you want to go second or do you want me? Because there's a guy, but I'm willing to let you go next.
I'll let you go. You can have him.
All right, I'm also gonna say I feel like these two go hand in hand. I feel like Cam, in terms of pitching, just dominance, young dominance. I'm gonna go with Ben Rice. I mean, I feel like everyone knew it. Like everyone says that the underlying metrics last year was like he's crushing the ball. He's just getting pretty unlucky. And this year it's panning out. He's crushing the ball and it's working. He's got 3 homers. I think he's got the highest OPS in the MLB. So yeah, I think Ben Rice, I think we're going to continue to see this. Like this to me, I think is just normal Ben Rice. Obviously the OPS might drop a little bit, but I think he's just such an incredible talent. And yeah, I'll go Ben.
Yeah, and I believe he's leading the MLB in OPS right now.
I think so, yeah.
Like a 1.38 or something like that.
Unreal. And it's early, but like I said, I think that this is who he is. He's just such a great hitter. I don't know.
Yeah, we before the season, me and Ryan did a lot of like season predictions and whatnot, and we both said he's gonna have like a 40 home run season. He's gonna be like a top 5 first baseman in the MLB. It's off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna go Max Fried. I mean, I feel like before the season started, at the end of spring training, people were almost a little nervous about the rotation until Cole and Rodon come back. And Fried just continuing to be the ace that he is. He struggled his last few starts last season, and coming back, he's been dominant. 2-0, 1.35 ERA, 20 innings pitched. He's 14 strikeouts. He's just been the ace that we knew he was, but it's nice to see. And his second start was just so dominant against the Mariners. So yeah, gotta love the ace.
3 great players off the board.
I know. Now we're gonna get into the nitty gritty. I think. I'm gonna go. Obviously, Judge is not on this list, so you can't. He's just Aaron Judge. You take him for. Yep. I think a lot of us take him for granted on how good he is, but people that really know don't. But I'm going to take, and he's throwing right now, Will Warren. I think it's a consistency factor with him. I think he has the stuff to do it. I think there needs to be there's another confidence builder in him where I think he can take it to the next level. Stuff is there. And I think it's just him understanding the ability and not trying to do too much, because sometimes he gets into extended counts and, early count contact is great to keep your pitch count down and do all those things. And I think the more that he gets comfortable with the understanding of what it is to go deep in games, to understand, we can get strikeouts when we need them, but necessarily to stay in this game. And, I wanted to do one too, where it wasn't just like one person. I was kind of going to go the bullpen at this point, but we can touch on that here in a little bit. But I just think for him, and knowing that the guys that we're going to get back, because we're obviously going to get Garrett back, we're going to get Hill back, and so there's going to be a place for him to fit in. And is he going to take it and run with it and force their hand where you can't take me out? And I think with just him and the confidence, the stuff is there 100%. We've seen it. I think it's just him believing and trusting in everything that he's done in the process to put him in the position that he can be to continually help this team in a deep run and be a big factor is going to be something that's going to be really important for this team.
Absolutely. Spot on. Great pick, Will Warren. Wow. All right, so we got 4 off the board. With my next pick, I'm gonna go Big G. I think that what does he have? One or 2 homers, but I mean, like, just the hits. And he's always been such a good, not necessarily contact hitter. Like he tends to strike out a lot, and he has in the past. But I think that, like, when it comes down to it, he's always good for just solid contact, and that for him can be 115 exit velo. So I think that just like
Well, you saw that ball he hit to left that left a dent in the wall.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Unbelievable. I didn't see that. I missed it during the game, but then I saw like clips on Twitter afterwards, and I couldn't believe. You have to hit it on a line, I feel like, to do something like that. Like,
He was never a fun at bat.
I believe that.
Because if you miss, you're like, I don't know if it's coming 115 at my face or where it's going to go. It might go 600 feet. You just never knew. You knew if you could expand and get him to extend, you'd have a little bit of luck. But it's like if you just missed by a little bit, you were like, oh, you just prayed that it wasn't coming back at you.
I feel like, yeah, you'd almost prefer it to go 600 feet than right back at you in terms of your own well-being. But yeah, and it's funny because me and Connor love talking about Giancarlo Stanton just because I feel like his stance, his swing, everything about him just doesn't scream like ball player necessarily.
So awkward.
It's funny because he's one of the best in the league at what he does. But yeah, it's just like it's not clunky, but it just feels like he's just like got a club in his hand. He's like, oh, hit the ball, and he matches. But I'm gonna go with him. Yeah, he's been solid at the plate. He's had some clutch hits already, and that's kind of something that's in his genes naturally. He's always been someone that comes through for us. And I think part of that lends itself to ever since he became a Yankee, he knew that he would have to own up and kind of accept what it came with. I feel like he's always like been sort of the guy to be like, we're not playing well or we're not doing this well, and like just take accountability. I think that just shows he's perfect for the Bronx. So I think he's batting like 3. Connor, you said it before, like 320?
378 right now.
Okay, so way higher, 370. He's just crushing the ball, and I hope it continues. And like we said, he's most important in the playoffs. So no one should be upset about days off for Big G. As long as he's healthy, doing what he does, it's going to be perfect.
Yeah, most hits on the team.
Awesome. And you'd expect it to be the opposite. You'd expect a couple hits, more homers, but I like this version of Big G. Keep doing it. Take more walls out of play and put more holes in walls.
I think for player 6, I think I'm going to go with Trent Grisham. I'm just kidding.
It's an interesting
I'm not going with Trent. I'm going to go with I'll go Cody Bellinger. He might not be doing as well as the other, Ben Rice and Stanton. But he's getting on base at a high clip. He has 9 walks, I believe, already. He's playing stellar defense in the outfield. I feel like him and Judge and Grisham, really just in general, the defense in the outfield has been incredible. And we've always, I feel like for years, have needed that left fielder. And it just feels good that we have him. Mm-hmm. We got him. That was like the big narrative this offseason was getting him back.
First of all, he might have the catch of the year.
That was unbelievable.
That was crazy. That little.
Me and Connor talked about it a little bit last. We just ran a pod recently, but you ever like put quarters on your elbow and then you got to like.
That's the first thing I thought of.
Me too. Yep. First thing I was like that. That's it. That's literally what he did. He's like, oh, I know where the ball's going. Quick reflex. What a catch. That was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my pick, Cody Bellinger. So now
you said Grisham is funny, but Do you think too, sometimes too, when you bet on yourself, obviously taking the qualifying offer and getting, after the year that he had, do you think sometimes, he took the qualifying offer betting on himself and obviously creating a great salary for himself? Do you think sometimes they put a little bit more pressure because now he knows he can't get another one and he's fighting for a contract? Do you think sometimes, and I think this too, but I'd like your guys' perspective of, do you think sometimes he puts a little bit more pressure on himself now because he had the good year? He has to follow it up to get a contract?
I think that definitely plays a role. I mean, it's hard. I feel like contract years, having 2 of them in a row, where you have that pressure, I'm sure that it definitely gets to you and plays a mental, just a mental role in things. And I feel like also batting in front of Judge, I feel like there must be so much pressure to get on base, and like everyone's looking at him. If we're only 10 games into the season, people are already upset with him because he's not getting on base more. So yeah, I definitely think the qualifying offer though, that definitely, I mean, that would make me nervous, but
I wonder then, like, because I know 22 million for him is good, and it was a good deal for the Yankees in terms of we saw Kyle Tucker get what he got. But like, then what? Why wouldn't he have explored it after last season? Like, what's the reason then for him to need to do it again? Does that make sense? Like, after having the year that he had, it's the best year he's had ever. Like, shouldn't he have kind of searched for who's willing to pay him, let's say 25 mil for like 5 years? Or was it part of like he wants to come back, or he wasn't sure he was going to get that? I don't know.
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think it was like, I can take this guaranteed. I know, what I can do at this stadium and, the people that I have around me. I think it's probably a little bit of both. I don't think maybe he was probably getting the years that he wanted. That's probably more so what we've heard of.
That makes
not
sense.
Necessarily the AAV, but the years and, just the strength and the mindset of knowing, okay, I'm here for 3 years and making this, but if I go 1 and I do the same thing, now I might get an extra year and more money. So there's a lot that goes into it. And obviously you're not in his camp. You don't understand the kind of where, his head frame is at. But yeah, when you bet on yourself, we've seen it pay off. We've seen it not pay off. And so it like I said, we're only 10 games in, Connor, like you said, and people are like, but hey, let's talk about this at 150. Are they going to be saying the same thing when, he has 30 homers and, still playing good defense and that? So that'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, and I think statistically too, he has been one of the like more unlucky players this year. I know that's a defense that I keep seeing. So I mean, hopefully things will turn around. But yeah, it's so early.
Mm-hmm.
So our third one of like not those names. Gosh, this one's tough because we could go so many ways with this. I'm going to go Anthony Volpe.
Okay.
Because you don't know what's going to happen when he comes back. You don't know the guys before him, if they step up and if he does get the opportunity. Do I think he's going to get the opportunity when he's healthy to come back and play the position? I do. But also, if there's other guys that have stepped up and played the position, done things that they've wanted to do, is the thing that I think about too when I think about that is like we've seen shades of it. He has over 3,000 at-bats. So we know the type of hitter he is. We've seen a great defensive year and we've seen awful defensive years. So what version of Volpe are we going to get after this? Is he going to take the bull by the horns and be like, hey, you know what? Like, I've had my chances. I've shown glimpses. I have the ability. They've seen it. Can I put it all together? And I don't know if this is the end all that makes all for him of what happens for his future from here on out. But I think it's a huge turning point in his career of how he comes off this injury and how he performs, because he's going to get the opportunity. He's going to. It's what is he going to do with that opportunity? And that's the biggest question mark for me, and that's why I took him with this one.
Do you think there's anything that Cabby can do to kind of solidify that role more, or like he's not doing great? Um, he's got on base 7 out of 37 at bats. But when he's on base, the stolen bases, the speed, especially combined with Jazz, it's very disruptive and um, fun to watch. So do you think there's anything he can do to kind of solidify his role more?
I think the consistency at the plate probably is the biggest thing because he's going to feel it. When he gets on base, he's going to cause havoc, and that's part of the reason they brought him over. And when you can team him up with Jazz and do that, I think that adds a different dynamic to the game, especially with the guys that you have at the plate. Where now it's like, okay, I got to worry about this dude running. So sometimes as pitchers, that affects us trying to execute a pitch because we're worried about him making sure we get to the plate quick enough to give our catchers a chance to throw them out. And then sometimes we may miss. And this is a game of inches. And it's like, if I miss by that much, now that gives him a better opportunity to hit. So I think there's aspects of his game that are different. I think the consistency of, do I expect him to hit 300? No. Is he going to pick it? Yes. Is he going to be able to get on base and steal bags and create havoc? Yes. Is that something that Volpe can do? I don't know. And we have to grow every year and get better in some way, shape, or form. And so I'm excited to see what he's going to do and to see what changes he makes or what, just mentality he changes and how he goes about his business because he knows he's going to get a chance. And that's the hardest part. And just hopefully doesn't get so deep into it where, now he's pushed to the back burner and now he really doesn't get that chance.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan,
yeah, and just to touch on that, I mean, if Anthony Volpe comes back and he's even like serviceable and gives us finally like over a 700 OPS and just plays the defense that we know he can, it'd be so nice to have Cabby either on the bench to pinch run in a late game situation or just be the utility guy. Like I am really rooting for Volpe, as I am like all players. When we talk about underperforming, you're always rooting for them. It's just we're fans. Like we're gonna talk about kind of what's going on. But I guess my pick for this one just feels too easy at this point. I'm not sure what he's done tonight, but Ryan McMahon, since coming to the Yankees, just hasn't really done much. And it's tough because he was always like a fun name you heard in the Rockies where it's like, ooh, we need a third baseman. Let's go get him. I was excited for him to come over. I feel like it was, I mean, we did pay him a pretty good amount or like took on his contract, but since becoming a Yankee, just not doing all that hot, starting off really poorly this year. Like what OPS 363 OPS, not great.
He's in 087.
Yeah, like that. And part of it is early, but I mean, when you go back to last year and you kind of combine it, just not good. So again, rooting for him to get the bat going. But after Ahmed Rosario basically won us the game last night, and it's cool to see Boone. I was kind of surprised to see McMahon play short, but I think it was cool that it was because I think he wanted to get Rosario in another game. He's like, oh, because you don't really see Boone do that. A lot of the times fans are pissed because Dominguez would hit 2 homers and then he wouldn't play for 3 games.
Take him out.
Yeah. So it was like cool to see like, oh, Boone's actually trying to get Rosario back in the game. So yeah, I mean, McMahon, I'm rooting for him, but man, brutal start to the season. So hopefully he can pick it up.
Trying to think. Really no one from the bull. If I had to pick someone from the bullpen, just because I was looking at them, I would say Doval is probably the one guy that's been underperforming. In his first 3 outings, he looked lights out. It was really the last 2 he's given up 2 earned runs in each of them. But his stuff just looks so gross. And I don't know what the disconnect is. I know, sometimes it's control, but the last 2 outings, it seemed like even when he was putting like his best stuff in the zone, it was just getting hit. So I don't quite know what he needs to tweak. But I just feel like he's going to be such an important piece in the bullpen and like such an important I guess, 7, 8, 9. You're thinking Tim Hiller, Cruz, Doval, Bednar. And if you want him to be the setup man or if he's in the 7th, he's just got to be more consistent. But God, his stuff is gross.
Great pick. So there we go. Good draft. I mean, a lot of talent, and then I think it's so funny too because like we're 8-2,
Yeah.
and I mean, like you're just nitpicking at this point, like, and it's fun to do because there's obviously guys that aren't doing the best, but it's a fun thing to be able to like nitpick when you're 8-2. Like some teams like the Red Sox are struggling to figure out how to win games and just everything's going wrong. And something that just came to mind was Roman Anthony's noodle arm. It's pretty unbelievable that he keeps getting opportunities to throw it to the plate. And I think, Connor, we talked about this at one point. Like, you didn't really hear anything about him in the minors, like not being able to throw the ball to home. And I don't really know if it's like yips or if it's just like a talent thing, but it's tough. He's a great hitter. I'm like, especially after the World Baseball Classic, I'm kind of a Roman Anthony, like, not supporter, but you know what I mean? Like, I think he's cool. He's good, but not a great look.
Really a Johnny Damon arm, if I've ever seen it.
Very similar, yeah.
I don't know if it's the way he's shown it is, but and to his credit though, he's owned it. Like he came out and said he's like I've got to be better. I've got to work on this. Like, and as a young kid, like for him to recognize that and obviously he's heard it, and especially in a media market such as Boston, like you're gonna hear about it, and just to own it and not run away from it and be like, hey, this is something, like, kudos to him and the understanding. It was like, he took it with a grain of salt and be like, you guys saw it, so did I. And so I just, it's everybody's like, oh, Yankees should hate Red Sox and this, that, and another thing. It's like, I appreciate all the guys that like recognize where they need to work on. And, he faced it up front and personal, and he's like, yeah, it's not good. And so hats off to him. And you always want to see these young players succeed, and no matter where they're at, because it makes the game better, because you've got all these young kids that look up to these younger guys with, with the swag and all the other stuff and what they do. So, kudos to him. And it'll be interesting to see how he progresses and how he learns from it. I mean, we know he can hit it. We know that's going to happen. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens.
Definitely. And me and Connor also talked about this. Like we feel like when we were growing up, like we got the golden years of like that Yankees Red Sox rivalry. And we never want the Red Sox, obviously never want the Red Sox to be better than the Yankees, but it's fun when both squads are good. I mean, we want that rivalry back. Like,
better for baseball.
Absolutely. So, I guess we can start our little segment. I'm thinking we can just do kind of the one, Connor. We've been doing something each pod called Judge's Trial, where we basically just pick something from the week that we like want to kind of contest, or like that we didn't think was great. Like, for example, who have we had on the trial, Connor? We had
the Giants team. Our opening series, we put the
Giants in general were on trial because they played so poorly. We had Doval on trial, but we're gonna throw something out there, and we want to kind of hear your take on it, and sort of, you can either kind of support it or go against it. We're curious what you think about the ABS system. It's obviously like the biggest thing in baseball right now. We definitely have some thoughts, but would love to hear what you think about it. And as a former pitcher, World Series champ, kind of what your take is on it.
It's different, obviously, like as an old school baseball guy. I understand the game is going to change. We look at it, and you look at teams like the Yankees are 16 for 27 on challenges. So it's kind of one of those things where I look at it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you only get so many. When do you use them? Strategically wise, when do you use them? And do I think it's good for the game? I actually had this conversation with a lot of people, and I think it's kind of 50-50, honestly. But I also, at the same time, I'm like, let's give it a chance. It's been 10 games. Let's see how it plays itself out. everybody was always like, worried about the pitch clock and this, that, and other thing. And now everybody loves it. And the average time is anywhere from 12 to 16 seconds. So it's not adding a crap ton of time to the game. So as far as pace of play and all the other stuff, it's not hinging on that. I don't think. I think there's ways, and I've heard a lot of ways where they're like, oh, well, why do they do it in 2D when K-Zone does it in 3D and all the other stuff? So it's just kind of the way you look at it, because I don't think there's a right answer on how to fix it. And obviously it's been 10 games, 11 games where we've seen it. And I just think it's something we need to give a little bit more time to. Do I think it has helped? Has it changed some at bats? Yes. Has it changed a ton of at bats? I don't think so. Mm-hmm. We've seen a couple where it's really kind of changed it, but not a ton. Do I like it? Yeah, to an extent. Do I think you look at tennis and you look at other stuff where, just a piece of the ball has to hit the line and so on and so forth. Do you make the adjustment of there has to be a certain percentage of the ball that hits the zone? Does there have to be, as they get measured, and we've seen guys' height go up and they've gone down, right? Like, so we've seen that. And so I don't know the right answer to that, to be perfectly honest. Do I like some of the ways where, is it holding everybody accountable? Like, do you think the zone? I think what it gives too is it gives the fans a really cool perspective of how guys really understand the strike zone.
Yeah, that's true.
And how hard it is to be an umpire when they get it right by a fraction of an inch, or they miss it by a fraction of an inch. And they're obviously wild pitch, tied 2-2.
Oh boy.
Where you see how hard it is to be an umpire. And we don't like umpires. I get it. Like, nobody does. But I think fans are going to get a real perspective of how good these guys really are in calling pitches, and how guys receive the ball as catchers and what they perceive a ball or a strike and hitters as well. So I think it gives a different dynamic for the casual fan, because they get to see the instant side of it. It's not like, oh, I can see it on the square, but when it actually comes into it and you put the Hawkeye in and you see, it's like, man, they got that right by literally the corner of the baseball. And that's for the umpire, that's for the hitter, and I think it brings a different dynamic to the game, where as baseball players, sometimes we know it, but to grow the game and whatever is to get I guess it's indirect, direct, like instant gratification for the fan, because, oh, that's a ball. And then all of a sudden, 12 seconds later, you see that it was either a ball or a strike, and be like, man, how did they see it? It was that close. So I think it brings a different dynamic for the fan, more so than it does us as players. And I think that's a really cool part for the game of what they're trying to do to grow it, to get the interactiveness of keeping fans engaged in the game.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? This is actually, I guess, to take that Ryan's hat. I don't know if you want to say it, but umps used to, establish their zone, and as a pitcher, you had to adjust to it, or as a batter, you would have to adjust to the zone that they established, whether they were calling a little more outside or high or low, whatnot. And I feel like that's probably kind of going to go away. Was that something that, I guess, stands out to you as something that you had to deal with a lot as a pitcher? Is that something that you're happy is kind of going away, or is that something that's going to be just a little lost in part of progressing the game?
That would be the one thing from the player side that I don't like. I understand growing the game because we want more fans, but from a pitcher standpoint, it was like I knew who was behind the plate. I knew I could get away with a little bit more. And it's like you created the relationships with them, right? To where it's like I know, like, I can nibble a little bit, and if I keep going there, I'm probably going to get it. And that part takes away. So it was like, I remember Roger he was like, hey, get the umpire handbook, know their name, know if they have kids, and so you can get that call, right? You can get that call, that borderline call, if you keep going there. And there's been plenty of examples where, these guys are so good and disciplined in the zone where if I'm not getting the inner third or the outer third, like I got to throw the ball over the middle of the plate and I'm going to get absolutely crushed. But if I have a relationship with the umpire where it's like, hey, you got to give me one side or the other. These guys are too good. And as long as you don't show them up and be like, and if you keep going there, you're going to get it. And there's pitchers umpires, there's hitters umpires. That's just the way the game used to be. That part is getting taken away because now they're held accountable based upon stature of the hitter and all those things. So that part for me is a little bit frustrating because that's the chess match of having, that umpire maybe in your back pocket of knowing if I stay out or third and I keep hitting it, I'm probably going to get it. So for me, that's a little bit of the frustrating part of the chess match of the game where you can't really have that anymore because they're, you just, hey, and it's like, I thought, I usually get that, but now you're not going to get it. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's part of it where from the player perspective, at least mine, I'm not saying I don't speak for everybody, but that's where I think it changes a little bit for us.
Absolutely. And it's hard because I've been trying to kind of tune into that with each game I watch. Because before the season started with ABS, that was my first thought was like establishing a zone. And then I imagine that either the batter or the pitcher knows this is being called, right? And then late game, let's say big spot, the pitcher goes to that spot he's been getting, and now we have a tap on the head, and now you're not getting that. What has been established as a strike, I get people, a lot of the pushback is like, that's the zone. Like now we're blessed with knowing mathematically and with these cameras, like that is the zone. I just think, and I love like catching, I love the art of framing, like that to me is like the saddest part that we're losing a lot of that. The game I just watched last night, the Yankee game, like beautiful, like sinker, bottom left corner. It was like the most beautiful pitch, taps his head. It was one of those 0.1 where you literally can't even see it. So it's like, I'm with you. I think it's 50-50. I love that. I think it was the first or second game, Judge taps his helmet, it's a ball, next pitch crushes it. That was like the first example. We were like, oh, ABS is great. But then part of me is like, man, when you see these, and it's beautiful that these umps and hitters and pitchers, they know by like that much, or like they seem to like have that, but it's frustrating when you see how close it is. Like, I don't know. It's tough. It's like you said, it's 50-50 for me. I love it and hate it at times. So we'll just see kind of how it progresses throughout this season and in future seasons. But
yeah, it's 10 games in. Let's see how it plays out. We're going to get a bunch of numbers. They're obviously going to do the legwork and see the percentages. They showed it early as far as like pitchers, hitters, catchers. They showed the numbers and so it's going to play itself out. And I think we'll get, probably midway through the year, we'll probably get a better, because it's such a small sample size right now, to where we'll have a better idea if is it really making sense? Is it doing better for the game, or is it just kind of just staying blah, like kind of mundane? And I don't think we can even make an educated even view of it right now, just because it's so new. Granted, it's been going on for a while, but not at the big league level where everybody sees it. So I think we give it a little time and see how it plays itself out.
And it's funny too, because you have like there's been some issues with like the umps, the player takes a split second or they toss their bat and then they go to challenge and the ump's like, nope, you didn't do it in time. Or I just saw a clip. It was so funny. I want to say, I don't know what team it was, but the pitcher was upset. So the ump was yelling, challenge it then, challenge it. I kind of love that a little bit. It's like, hey, if you're going to,
yeah, because he said you got one. He goes, you got one left.
Yeah. If you're going to chirp me, you can literally put your money where your mouth is now. And it's just funny. The pitcher didn't challenge it. It's like the ump probably felt pretty good about that. But, and like you said earlier, strategic wise, it's interesting because I wonder if there's a game plan. You saw the Yankees kind of had a shift. They were pretty eager and like, not challenge happy, but they were being successful a lot. And then I feel like these last couple games, like Judge has let a couple like way outside where I'm like, Judge, like, especially if anyone's going to challenge it, let's get Judge a couple extra pitches. Like he was letting some go. So you got to wonder like what that talk is in the clubhouse about kind of strategy and game plan with those. But it's going to be interesting. It's a fun new part of the game that we all kind of have to adjust to.
McMahon just grounded into a double play.
That sounds about right. Again, no disrespect, Mr. McMahon. I hope you perform, but we also got a little thing we like to call Bleacher Creature Hotline. So I try to tweet out like a day in advance and see if people have some questions. So we got a couple to ask you. The first one up, there's a Twitter account. He's a good friend of ours. His name's Mr. Name That Yank. And he wanted to ask you, who is one pitcher that you played with on the Yankees that you think could help this bullpen right now as a coach?
Oh, as a coach?
As a coach. And you can say yourself. I think that's not out of the question.
No. I'm too busy with my son.
Look at it.
Gosh, if there's one, I mean, I got to pick one. There's so many.
You can give us a few. Yeah, we don't got to pigeonhole it.
I mean, as far as like the pitching coach or like just a coach in general?
Good question. I guess he wanted specifically the bullpen, but
okay.
Really whatever.
Obviously, we have an old assistant pitching coach in Preston Claiborne, who I played with. I would say one guy out of the pen where I feel like he could do something, and it's going to sound weird, and I actually just saw him about a month ago. And he would do it in a weird way, and I don't know why he comes to mind, is David Robertson.
Oh, okay.
Just because he was always the Houdini about stuff, and he always went about it like in such a different way and it always worked. And you've seen how long he played, and he even came back, and I faced him in college. He was at Alabama, and so I had known him before we got here, and just in the success that he had coming into the big leagues. And I think he's just somebody that could relate, because not like a superstar, but a guy that was so consistent in what he did. And just like Mike Harkey was mine, who was an absolutely unbelievable bullpen coach and understood the game, could relate it. He was there, but he never pushed it on you. He was like, if you need anything, just holler at me. That's it. Like, wasn't pushing anything on you, wasn't trying to, like, as you're warming up, wasn't trying to be in your face and whatever. He'd be like, hey, this is who you've got. You're going to be ready for this guy. And I think D-Rob would be really, really good at that. I personally don't think I would be, just because I would be so invested in what it is, where I don't know if I could take a step back and be like, okay, well, we've got this. And obviously you do your homework as a bull, because you have your guys and know what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are and who they're going to face. And so I think the role of a bullpen coach is way bigger than people understand, in what they prepare for themselves and for the guys in the pen, and to make sure that they know their arms and if they're ready, and what they see going back and forth, and the guys that they're going to have to face. And so I think he would be great. I think it just because he doesn't he keeps it so, he dumbs it so down. It's like, I'm just going to throw a cutter and spin it. That's what I'm going to do. And he was very successful for a long time. Ben just made an error. Yeah. But yeah, so it's just, I think there's a lot of guys that could, honestly. It's just, it's one of those things when we talk about like culture in a clubhouse, and we talk about culture as coaches, I think it's what fits that group of who as a coach fits that group to make them better, because it takes all pieces of the puzzle to win. And that's one that comes to mind for me.
I like that answer.
Yeah, I feel like we watched Prime D-Rob.
Yeah.
So yeah, we love that. Do you want to go into the next one, Ryan? I always have trouble pronouncing his name.
Who, Oswaldo?
No, Brett.
Oh, Oh no, this is actually a different account. This isn't him.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Shout out Brent. He's a cool dude. But no, yeah, this one was another one. It said, Jabba, what do you think of the left side of the infield? And I feel like you actually we touched on this a bit. Will Volpe be an upgrade? And at what point does Oswaldo get a shot at third base? That was from Brett Dubs.
It's a great question. It's tough to say early because we're obviously kind of switching. McMahon's obviously made some plays today at shortstop, and obviously Ben Rice had a nice pick from McMahon early in the game. But I think this is the right time to do it early, is to try and figure out who can step in and do those things. Mm-hmm. Do they know what Volpe can do? Yes. Like they've seen it bad, they've seen it good. Mm-hmm. So it's not like what he's going to do is going to be a surprise either way. And that's my opinion. I don't think what they're going to get from him is going to surprise anybody. Mm-hmm. Will the consistency be there? And with the left side of is it going to be consistent enough that where we can even say, like, this is the right guy at third, this is the right guy at short? Is like, are they going to play enough games to where we get a consistent value or consistent like basis of us like making a statement of like, yeah, this is going to be upgrade, or it's going to be kind of the same? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it's early to answer that question, just because I don't think we've had enough games to see where people are going to fit, because I think he is going to put people in different spots. Mm-hmm. And I think the left side's going to change from game to game. Oh, Will's out of the game now. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's just going to take time to see, and who knows when exactly Volpe's going to be back. Mm-hmm. I think what they get with Volpe is they know it's going to be one or the other. Mm-hmm. And how does that translate to what we have right now? Definitely. And I think that's going to take a little bit more time to figure that out.
Yeah, I think when you think about the names that we have over there, like Volpe, Cabby, McMahon, Rosario, and then you got Waldo and AAA, it's like obviously none of those names stick out at you like, oh, that's the guy. So I think you're exactly right in that, like, this entire season could be a mixed match of just this guy's doing well, this platoon situation, this guy's playing good defense. So yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see like a set one. This is a kind of a fun question. Favorite Derek Jeter moment. And I don't know, you can pick one where you were around for it or one before you, but just favorite Derek Jeter.
One that I can say.
What is that?
A bunch of fun ones that I can't talk about.
That'll be for the Patreon.
Yeah.
I think probably my favorite Derek one is actually when he jumped my ass, honestly, because he always did it in a methodical type of way. Usually either the next day or he'd get you in the clubhouse or something. But we were facing, I think, the Indians at the time, the Guardians now, obviously. And I was facing Mark Grudzielanek, and it was in 2009. And, I've gotten to know Derek pretty well. And I was complaining. I was like, he had like a wall scraper to right field, and I was complaining about, oh, it's so short in right field, and like was pissed. Obviously, I gave up a homer, and like he usually waits to say something, and he actually grabbed me and he goes, hey, we all have to hit here, we all have to pitch here, relax, calm down. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go. I'm 23 years old. I'm like, all right, I'll just shut up and sit down. Just go ahead, just sit my butt right here. All right, I guess I'm not complaining anymore. And then he obviously grabbed me, and again, he's like, you know why I did that? And I was like, yes, sir, I understand. And so it's just like, he usually never did it like that. And it caught me by surprise, and I'm glad he did it. I mean, it's why he is who he is. And it's just, there's so many stories of him doing things, and, so many memories that I have with him, and in different aspects off the field, not so much on the field. And, just another one was when I was pissed at him when I had the bug game in 2007. I asked him, I was like, why didn't you come? Like, I'm a rookie. Like, come help me out. He goes, every time I got closer to the mound, the bugs got worse. And I'm like, oh, so you didn't help me out?
Yeah.
You gave me no love here, dog? Come on now.
I get it from his perspective, though.
No, trust me, I get it. I was dealing with it too, and so was he. As you see him swatting bugs too. So, but no, there's so many with Derek that I mean, it could be a whole 2-hour segment of me just giving Derek Jeter stories.
That's amazing. That's so cool to hear, and it makes me want to ask, kind of like, I mean, obviously the captain, he's won so many times, like, and that story kind of lends itself to that. But what was it like, sort of like, how was his leadership, like in moments in the clubhouse? Like, was it like when he walked by, you were kind of like, was it sort of like a coach where you were like tighten it up, or was he just like one of the guys but kind of led by example? Like, how was his sort of demeanor, I guess is what I'm asking.
No, it was so weird because obviously as a baseball fan, and then coming up as fast as I did and the things, that I did, getting into the clubhouse, like I was more nervous going to AAA than I was to the big leagues. And, getting, and I'm just a fat kid from the north side of Lincoln, and I just happened to make it. And I got to watch you guys on TV. Now I have the fortunate pleasure to play with you guys. Like, I didn't treat anybody different than we all put our draws on the same way. We shower in the same shower. Like, I don't, yeah, you guys are great players, but I got to play with some great individuals, not only great players, but just great people. And he was just so good at like timing, like really just great with especially younger guys. And then as we got older, when I could call his shit out and whatever, and he couldn't say anything to me at that point. And so it was one of those things where his timing was impeccable of how to like get his message across.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what made him great. And obviously as the captain and whatever, he was just so good at not only handling the media and handling the clubhouse and making sure everybody, did, but we also had Jorge, who would jump your ass quick, fast, in a hurry. And then when we, in 2009, when we got CC and, guys like that, there was just, everybody had their own role as the leader because there were so many young guys at that point too. And you had all those guys where, they all fit their role as the leader of the team, where it worked. And that's why we won. And everybody knew their place and what they did. And us young guys just we followed suit. And, you saw a lot of those guys, go and end up having great careers. And it was based on just because all those guys, the Pettits of the world. And I mean, I have Andy's number tattooed right here.
That's awesome.
And so, it's just certain guys that they taught you certain things about the game and about life. And that's what made them all very, very successful, not only in the game of baseball, but just as great men and now great husbands and just great friends.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible. That's so awesome.
I think this next one, I guess kind of follows that. But favorite Yankee ever was a question. Could be teammate as well. And then also, I guess I'll add on to that. Just as a kid, who's your like favorite player growing up to watch?
Oh, favorite Yankee. I mean, it's hard to pick one. There's two that stand out to me. One was Mike Mussina. Just because he was such a hard nut to crack. Like, Moose was himself. And I was the annoying kid. Like, he would always do his crosswords in pen because he was super smart. And I'd always just bug him. I would always bug him. And he was having a rough year in 2007. And he ended up coming to the bullpen in 2007 during the playoffs. And I would bug him. Like, we'd get on the bus and I'd be like that little annoying kid. Like, I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. But I would just bug him and like, and and he's never had that. And like, I know who Mike Mussina is. Like, it's not a secret. And so he came out and he brought his cleats and whatever. And he comes out and I'm warming up and I was like, hey, good to see you, Moose. But he gives me a hug and he says, thank you. And I'm like, for what? And he goes, and he smiled and he didn't say anything after that. He just smiled. And I was like, That's all I need. Like, I was the annoying little brother. And then next year he wins 20 games. And then after that, so I struggled a little bit to start 09 as a starter. And he comes up to me and he goes, Jobber, are you going to make me come out of retirement? Get your shit together and figure it out. And I'm like, yes, sir. So that was one gratifying for me. CC is another one where C speaks for himself. Just an absolute unbelievable human. Like, loves more than he could ever even show. I mean, and everybody saw what he did for his teammates and whatever, but it went further than that. Just an absolutely unbelievable man. Cared for everybody, wanted everybody to be successful, wanted everybody to be one unit, wanted everybody to hang out together, wanted everybody, have fun and do all that stuff. And so those two like stand out in certain aspects from my Yankee years of just one very gratifying because I was the annoying little kid. And then another one just the way he treated everybody and that's not saying everybody else didn't do that because they all did. But those are two that just stand out for me.
Yeah, I feel like those are probably two of my favorite Yankee pitchers ever.
Well, my favorite player growing up,
was
Chipper Jones.
Ooh,
great pick,
all-time great.
Yeah, so I grew up in Nebraska, so I got to watch the Braves every day.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just one of those things where, and I was like, so I got to pitch against him in 09. And it was one of those things where it's like, I call my dad and I'm like a 12-year-old schoolgirl, like meeting your crush. And you're like, oh my gosh, like I get a pitch against him, blah, blah, blah. All I want to do is strike him out. I didn't strike him out, which sucks. I ended up winning the game, but so yeah. And so I'll never forget the story. Jason Zillow, our PR director, who's still there to this day, he goes, Chipper wants to talk to you outside. And I'm like, the hell he does. Like, no chance he wants to talk to me, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, for sure. So I call my dad, and I'm like, Dad, Chipper wants to meet me. And my dad didn't cuss. My dad did not cuss. And I'm like, I'm nervous. Like, this is a dude like I grew up watching. Like, I wore my pants up if he wore his pants up. I wore mine down if he wore his down. Like, and he's like, get your ass out there. And I'm like, yes, sir. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, take a deep breath. I go out there. He gives me like a big hug. And he's like, man, I'm a huge fan. Love watching you. Love your relationship with your dad. It's awesome. And we still have a relationship to this day. So it's been really cool. And that's the one really cool part about, the game of baseball where, everybody's like, don't ever meet your hero because what if he let you down? Like, that's true. I've heard that where it's like they met him and they sucked and then like, oh, that just ruined it. But I was fortunate enough where Chip didn't ruin it and we still talk to this day. So
that's awesome.
It worked out. That is incredible. And it's so cool that we're like, as kids, we're all the same. If you're playing baseball, you're doing exactly what you just said. Like me and Connor, when we were little, we were playing baseball. He would always do the Alfonso Soriano batting stance. Like, yeah. And oh man, it's incredible to live then your dream. And then like, that's why I feel like I also, all ball players know, like the kids in the stands, like, I think that's why it hurts so much when you see a player kind of like throw a cold shoulder. Now, obviously everyone's human. You're not always having a good day and that totally understand that. But I think that's why there's so many great moments and why guys get it is because they were that kid. And now, you know what I mean? They know that there are kids looking up to them and copying their batting stances and doing their pitching motion. So that is such a cool, what a full story moment for that. You getting in a bat against him or a pitch against him. That's so cool. Chipper Jones, great one.
And a funny little my brother's favorite pitchers, not even kidding, Mike Mussina, he used to always throw a knuckle curve to try and be like him. And also he had a Joba Chamberlain shirt that we each had probably like 2 or 3 Yankee shirts. And I was always jealous because I would get someone and I would be so excited. And then he got someone and I was like, oh, why didn't I get that shirt? And then we would always like go back and forth stealing each other's shirts. But yeah, he would always pretend to throw bullpens and he would always be Mike Mussina and crazy.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's weird too. Like Chipper, so the year he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, my son was playing travel baseball, and we were playing in Cooperstown, in the Cooperstown tournament, and my son was 12. And so I still have the picture to this day. So when they get in, we were there before the ceremony, so they have all the guys set up. And so Carter sat next to Chipper's like enshrinement with like his jersey and all the other stuff. And I sent a picture to Chipper, and I was like, my two favorite players. And it was my son and Chipper. And he messaged back and he goes, that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. So it was like, I hold that near and dear to my heart. And now my son's playing college baseball, and I'm just like, the things that like this game has enabled me, and I've had the extreme honor to be able to play the game. I owe everything to the game of baseball, and to have those relationships and to like have that, like just that memory, like my son has, and, you know, him just being on the field all the time, and all the people that, you know, he's been able to meet and have relationships with. And, you know, that's just the coolest thing that we ever, you know, get to do. And the game of baseball provided for that. And, you know, we owe the game everything that we have, and the relationships and this opportunity. I would never have this opportunity to do this. You guys wouldn't care if I was just a slapdick coach in Lincoln, Nebraska. Like, nobody would care.
You'd still be an awesome dude, but you probably wouldn't be on our radar.
Yeah, I'm only full of shit half the time, boys.
That kind of sounds like a yogiism, to be honest. No, yeah, and even like it's funny, after we did the pod with you last time, like, I mean, so many family members just like reaching out, like, that's incredible, like you got to talk to Job. I'm like, listen, me and Connor know, like, I know I talked to you a little bit about just like afterwards, after that pod, but like me and Connor, like for 2 hours that night, we're just like, that's unbelievable. Like, to talk to a dude like Job is so incredible. And then, yeah, just like so many comments, and like people were coming up to me. Like, I went back to, I grew up in Milford, PA. It's like where New Jersey, New York, PA meet. And like, I was seeing like people, they're like, yo, I can't, before they even said hi, they were like, I remember watching Jabba when they won the World Series. I'm like, yeah, me too. I'm like, he was like one of my favorites. Like, I got my cousin telling me, so not that you need to hear it, but it was pretty special. It's special for us to do this. And it was special just to see, like, just, it's so cool. And like X and even social media in general creating moments like this. And I feel like it's pretty like prevalent nowadays, just in terms of like more athletes getting to kind of like share their personality, their voice, which is really cool. As negative as social media can get, that's definitely one of the cooler parts about it.
Oh, for sure.
But we got one more thing lined up for you. We got a couple videos and pictures from your playing days.
Oh boy.
Listen, you might not have anything to say, but if you have any moments or kind of thoughts to share on it, and I'm gonna start with this one because we didn't give it to you last time, and we kind of just talked about it. And it was very nice of you last pod to say, I know the midges is coming. We truly did stay away from it, mostly because you've talked about it a lot, so we absolutely get it. But if you want anything else to share, I mean, I was just watching the video, and like it's unbelievable. I think when most people hear your name, they think like great pitcher, then they think 2009 World Series, and then honestly, I think the third one might be midges. So it's like, what are your thoughts on kind of that game?
Half the time, I think midges probably come before the other two. No, I mean, it's interesting. It's like, you don't really you don't think about it because you're going through it. And, you know, when you actually see it and do all the other stuff, you're just like, it wasn't fun. Don't get me wrong. Like, I was still pissed that I didn't get out of the inning and gave up a run. And yeah, it was my fault at the end of the day. It wasn't Joe's fault at all. But yeah, it sucked. It was, you try to go through it. It's like, I mean, you really can't say anything. I'm a rookie. Really, what can I say? I mean, you know, everybody's there. They're spraying bug spray. And like I said, bug spray doesn't work. It's dryer sheets or vinegar. So if anybody ever gets attacked by midges, don't use off. That shit don't work. So yeah. And the crazy part is that can of off went for $686.
Oh, really? They auctioned it off?
Yeah, because it's all MLB stuff. So yeah, they auctioned it off. A kid won it. He mowed lawns all, and I met him in spring training.
No, that's cool.
That's incredible. I saw when I was watching the clips from it, I saw like A-Rod grabbed a can and was like spraying the ump. So that to me was just like this was a battle against the midgets from everyone, to be honest. Like,
yeah, we didn't. You can't prepare for that. We can do PFPs, we can throw pitches, we can throw bullpens, we can throw whatever, but you can't really prepare for flies around your face all the time.
Excessive amount. This one I got is let me take this down. This was an outing where you had you struck out 6, you went 7 innings, only gave up 1 run, and you earned your 6th win of this season. It was 2009. But I mean, me and Connor have so much fun going back and just like we just love watching, because this was like we're as big of a fans as we can be, like, or as we have been. But when you're a kid, it's just like it's unbelievable. Like, even the score bug up top, the score bug, like the nostalgia that hits. I love that you wore the fighting necklaces too. Like, that's just an era of baseball. Like,
well, they paid me very handsomely.
There you go. I guess that's a good reason. Pretty good reason to wear it. We paid handsomely to wear those, so we were on opposite ends of the spectrum there.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. Yeah, it just sometimes it clicks. I think my best start was against the Red Sox, actually. But yeah, it's just, starting was completely different. I loved it just because you get through the lineup the first time, the second time, and then you get them a third time, and it was always fun. And with the guys that you're facing, obviously the best in the world, and it's like, okay, I got them this way one time. Okay, can I get them again? And and it's weird. Some of those takes were looking, and so it means obviously my sequences went well, and we had a good game plan going into it. Obviously, it always didn't work out that way, but it was when it clicks, sometimes it clicks, and that year it was I would go 5 days, then I'd go 8 days, then it'd be 6 days, and it was kind of all over the place, but. At the end of the day, we won the World Series, so I don't really give a damn what happened throughout the entire year.
Absolutely. Everyone on a World Series roster, I mean, does something. Even whether it's in practice, like you talk about bullpen, like all the coaches, everyone that's a part of a World Series winning roster, I feel like they have some part of it. So hopefully we can see that again this year with our current Yankees. But and then let me throw this one on. This is arguably my favorite play of all time. I think you've replied a couple times. I think I tweet this out maybe once every like 3 months, but I'm just like, I think this is, and just this week there was an incredible play by a pitcher. I forget who it was, but he made this incredible play, dove and tagged the runner. I don't care what happens.
Oh, that was Kansas City, right?
Yeah, Kansas City, the Royals. It was unbelievable. My first thought was, well, it's not better than this play. Like, that's arguably my favorite play ever. You cover, like, to cover that much ground that quickly is unbelievable, and then the way you just got up and knew to fire it right to second.
Yeah, the wherewithal to get the double play.
Oh, don't give me credit for that.
Was someone screaming at you?
Yeah, Jorge's screaming at me because he's coming up as I catch, because I'm showing him that I caught it, and he's screaming. He's like 2-2-2 because I don't have any, like, because I'm trying to get the ball. And I see him come out, and like he's running, and like I lay out, and I'm like, okay, I got it. And then he's like screaming. So immediately I just turned and throw. And I realized I had way more time than I did and ended up getting the double play. But yeah, I don't give me any credit for that other than catching the ball. But like Jorge was screaming at me like, hey, 2-2-2. And I'm like, all right. And then got the double play. And yeah, it still shows up, and like I'll be at games sometimes like, hey, I was watching like YouTube or something and saw this, and they're like, oh, you were athletic. I'm like, yeah, don't let the uni fool you. Like, I was in there. Yeah.
Did that hurt? That must have hurt.
At no point did it hurt. The adrenaline and everything going I had no pain whatsoever.
What about the next morning you wake up at all? Like,
none, zero.
Love that.
That's awesome.
None.
And then I think we have one more. We'll go to the World Series. Ryan, if you want to pull that one up.
Yes. Let me see. Is it this one? Or is this the one I just played? No, this is it. Yeah. This is kind of just a a random at bat from the World Series. I wanted to find. I think you struck out Chase Utley. That's what I was looking for. But I guess I kind of wanted to use this clip to ask you sort of, I don't know, just what was it like and like being, I mean, we just had a World Series in 2024, but like how different is that World Series versus all of the other regular season games? And I know the answer partly, but from your perspective, like
that hat's right here.
That is so cool. That is unbelievable.
It's the same hat.
Unreal. That hat is in your hand right now. But
yeah, for me, that one was big because Pet had literally gone out and gave us a chance to win. And so that whole postseason, every clinching game that we had, I was the first person to come in after Andy.
That's awesome.
When we beat Minnesota, I was the first person to come in. When we beat Anaheim, I was the first person. And then when we won the World Series. And then it was it's just something when you have a guy like that goes and gives you a chance to win. And, you know, to be the first guy out after somebody like that, like you don't want to let him down, especially in that situation. And every pitch, I mean, it's everybody says, oh, it's the same game. Yes, it's the same game. It's still 60 feet, 6 inches, but it's not the same game. It's different. And anybody that tells you it's not, they're lying to you, unless they're a different human being or an alien. Don't know.
Feels like every pitch holds so much weight.
Yeah, and it's just you got to execute even more so, and just everything has to be tighter. It has to be crisper. You can't miss. And if you do, you know, you're going to pay the price. And I just think it's just such a different, like being in that situation when you, as a kid, you always dream about it. But then when it actually happens, you're like, holy crap, I'm actually in this position. And, you know, it's like, I'd look and the sweat stains are still in that hat. It's the same hat that you just saw. And, and to be able to have that experience and with those guys and the guys that you grinded from spring training all the way through to get to that point. I mean, shoot, we won November 3rd, you know, so it's like, you know, you get home and it's like already the holidays and you're like, I haven't even started playing catch. You realize like, I just stopped playing catch. Like, and so it just the opportunity to be in that situation is, I mean, 1,000,000 to 1, probably even more than that. But then to be able to actually pitch and help a team win and a franchise that is at the statue of what the Yankees are. And it's different. And everybody will tell you when you win in New York, it's different. And, you know, it's one thing that I treasure to this day and to have the opportunity and for them to give me the opportunity to draft me and to be able to do the things that I did. And some super cool things. I was really good at times. I was really shitty at times. And I understand that. But I was always myself, good and bad, through my mistakes and all the other stuff. And that's just who I am. I wore my heart on my sleeve. I gave it everything I got. And, you know, here we stand. And, you know, being able to talk about it and have those experiences is the coolest thing that I could have ever imagined in my life, to be able to still be talking about the game and the experiences, you know, that I had on the field and winning championships and doing all the things that I did. So I'm forever grateful to be able to wear that uniform and to have the honor of doing some really cool things there.
So cool.
Yeah, well, Java, it was truly a pleasure watching you growing up, and now getting to talk to you. You know, just want to say thank you for coming on again.
Oh, for sure.
First reoccurring guest.
Joba Chamberlain.
And it's Joba Chamberlain. That's crazy.
Well, we'll do this again for sure.
We will happily have you on at any time.
Let's do a mid-season check-in.
I love that. Absolutely. We'll have more to talk about in regards to the Yankees. And listen, I'll keep getting clips of you, and we'll just keep talking about.
Well, don't embarrass me that much.
No, yeah. Damn. Listen, only the good ones. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well, there's plenty of bad ones too.
There's a lot of good ones. But yeah, like Connor said, thank you so much for coming on. We'll definitely run one again mid-season. And as always, go Yanks.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.